A single dad was asleep with CEO when the captain asked if any combat pilots were on board. The first scream didn't come from a person, it came from the aircraft itself. A deep, unnatural groan echoed through the cabin, followed by a sudden drop that made hearts leap into throats and prayers spill out of trembling lips. Oxygen masks didn't deploy, but panic did. It spread faster than fear, faster than logic, faster than hope. And in seat 14A, a man who hadn't truly slept in years slowly opened his eyes. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet strength of broken people finding their way back, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stories like this exist because people like you keep them alive. His name was Arman, a single father, a man held together not by strength, but by responsibility. His daughter, Aisha, rested against his arm, her small fingers curled into his shirt as if even in sleep she feared losing him. That fear wasn't unfounded. Life had already taken too much from them. Across the aisle in seat 14C sat a woman who looked like she belonged in a different world entirely. Calm, composed, expensive without trying. The kind of presence that didn't ask for attention but commanded it anyway. Her name was Elena Verma, a CEO known in boardrooms across continents, a woman who made billion-dollar decisions before breakfast. But right now, she wasn't a CEO, she was just another passenger gripping her seat as the plane shuddered violently. The captain's voice came through the intercom, strained but controlled. Something was wrong, very wrong. One of the pilots had collapsed. The co-pilot was struggling to stabilize the aircraft, but there was turbulence, system errors, and a growing sense that things were slipping beyond control. Then came the question that silenced everything. There anyone on board with experience flying combat or advanced aircraft? We need immediate assistance. Wasn't a suggestion, it was a plea. For a moment, no one moved. People looked at each other, hoping someone else would stand, someone braver, someone stronger, someone more qualified. Arman didn't move either, because that life, that version of him, was supposed to be gone, buried, forgotten. He looked down at his daughter. Her peaceful face stood in painful contrast to the chaos around them. She had no idea that the man she clung to wasn't just her father, that he once flew through fire, through war, through skis that burned with danger, that he had once been a pilot people trusted with impossible missions. But that man had died the day his wife did. The memory hit him like turbulence. A hospital room, machines, silence, a promise he couldn't keep, a life he couldn't save. Since then he had chosen a quieter existence, a safer one where the only mission that mattered was raising his daughter. But life doesn't always ask what you're ready for, sometimes it demands who you used to be. The plane jolted again, harder this time. A cry echoed from somewhere behind. A child screamed. Someone prayed louder, and Elena noticed him. It wasn't what he said, because he hadn't spoken. It was how he looked at the cockpit door, not with fear, but with recognition. She leaned slightly closer, her voice calm despite the chaos. She didn't ask if he could help. She didn't question his ability, she simply said that if he knew something, now was the time. Because sometimes strangers see what we try hardest to hide. Arman closed his eyes for a second, not in hesitation, but in acceptance. Then, gently, he moved his daughter's head from his shoulder and asked the flight attendant to watch her. His voice was steady, but his hands carried the weight of everything he had buried. As he stood, something shifted, not in the plane, in him. The walk down the aisle felt longer than it was. Each step echoed with memories of commands shouted, of engines roaring, of missions that blurred the line between courage and survival, but also of loss, of the last time he walked away from a cockpit knowing he would never return. Until now, inside the cockpit, chaos reigned. Warning lights blinked. Co-pilot was drenched in sweat, fighting systems that seemed to resist every command. The unconscious pilot lay slumped, a silent reminder of how fragile control really is. Arman didn't rush, he observed, listened, felt, because flying wasn't just about controls, it was about instinct, and instinct doesn't forget. He took the seat.